what happens next? Have you guys talked about a strategy to try to rein in the Senate, to try to have an honest conversation?
We do lots of talking.
Yeah.
And then we run away from the math. Look, what happens when our president is saying, I really want to extend the tax cuts for working people? Absolutely. Love that idea. Have to do it. I want a balanced budget. Okay. Love that idea. Want to do it. But they're crashing into each other. You need sort of the unified theory. If we're going to have the discussion on tariffs, if we're going to have the discussion on using technology and databases and those things to squeeze the waste and fraud out of government, if you're going to actually create incentives for staying in the labor force, for a capital formation, for investments in productivity, labor substitution technology. And right now, because you'll have the discussion with fellow members and say, oh, David, you don't understand. I can't talk about a talent-based immigration system in my district. But yes, I see on your charts that you cannot get the productivity needed unless we do that. It's how do you educate not only members of Congress, their staff, but the public? There's a way where you could make this work. You don't pay off the debt, but you stabilize it. But you may only have 3 or 4 years to do it before the debt financing starts to just consume so much of the next available capital that you're caught into this sort of slow, anemic, debt-laden economy. And that's not that far off.
Well, what would you propose as a, stabilize the debt? We see the 3%, as 3% of GDP being thrown around a lot. Over what time period? What are you recommending? What are you looking at?
But there's the telling the truth problem. So if this year we borrow 2.3 trillion, if the US economy is 30, 31, 32 trillion, that would mean you need about a $900 billion deficit. You have to help me cut 1.4 trillion. I'm doing this off the top of my head. 1.4 trillion in this budget year.
I think everybody needs to take this in too, who's listening to this, right? Just understanding the magnitude of that. Yeah.
So just to get to 3% of borrowing of the economy this year equals everything in the House resolution for the next 10. And that resolution, has fantasy math in it. It has like 1.7 trillion of additional cuts in discretionary, which is never going to happen because, every time we do a discretionary, we bust that cap. It had 2.7 or 2.6 trillion, I believe, in magic additional growth. And there's the problem is, so just last week when the Federal Reserve lowered U.S. growth for this year, but also for the next 2 years, so for the 3 years, just that marginal reduction of growth is almost $200 billion of tax receipts in a year. So just that tiny reduction that the Federal Reserve projects in U.S. growth is more than all the spending reforms that are in these budget documents. And so the unseriousness of the scale we're up against. But once again, if your business, if your bureaucracy lives on that debt finance spending, you'd be amazed. It's shocking just how the willingness to destroy your children